Good evening. Hello. It's good to be back. Welcome to the 12-Man Podcast live on Facebook as part of the TalkSport fan network. We're back on that. And all your usual, good places to find us. You've got me, Steve Jackson. I'm your host for the evening. Good to be back. Mr. John Donovan's back with me as well. Evening, JD.
Good evening, fellas. You okay?
Doing good. How are you?
All right. Really excited for the start of the season. I'm not usually one that gets excited because obviously the window's still open. So every season I know that the team that starts the season isn't going to be anything like the one by the beginning of September. But I'm excited for tomorrow purely and simply because I missed 3 to 4 months of it because I couldn't go with my knee being knackered. So yeah, it's extra special for me tomorrow.
Good. Yeah, I can't wait to have you back. It's been a long few months without you in the stands with us, so yeah, it's going to be really good. And we've got our local politician, Mr. Jacob Jervis. Evening, Jacob.
Evening, you all right?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, thanks.
Good. Yes. So, have a good summer.
Yeah, it's been busy, but yeah, fine stuff to do. Better to be busy than bored.
There we go. 12-man podcast sponsored by John Donovan's dinner jacket. Lovely. Right. So, first, before we get on to starting on the season preview, I'll start with you, Jacob, because you obviously weren't part of our podcast when we spoke about Rob Edwards. You were a big fan of him. You wanted him in. What was your reaction on getting Rob Edwards in as the new manager?
I was happy. I think that mostly because it was just an end to speculation and the end to, how long is it going to go on before we get a manager? So it was nice to get Edwards tied down on a 3-year contract. Like I've said before, I think he's a good manager. And I think from what we've seen so far with what we've got, I think he's already shown that he's a good person. Like I said, he's likable. I think he's much better on the front of bringing the fans and the team closer together, which is always important. And I think we've already seen someone that's adaptable in terms of formations, substitutes. And I think although we haven't picked up a win in pre-season, I think there's the positives in the performance has been pretty decent on the whole.
Yeah, I like his positivity there. How positive was that? A great positive start. I like that. But no, you're absolutely right. I thought it's the best way to get started, get your views on the manager. But right, so we'll talk tonight. We'll talk about how's the summer's been pre-season wise. For me, results aren't important, or are they important? We'll talk about that. Talk about the new signings. Obviously, three people through the door. It is 3, isn't it? Like I'm not.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few under 21 players, but they're not first team ready, obviously. But yeah,
that's
3 first teamers.
Lovely. So yeah, we'll talk about them. Yeah, we'll talk about Alfie Jones. We'll talk about Caliburton, and we'll talk about Abdoulaye Kante as well. So we'll go through them, and we'll talk about the fixtures. What's coming up in the first month of the season, and we'll give you our thoughts really where we could pick up some points, where we may not pick up some points, and where we're going to finish. Everybody's got a wide spectrum of opinion on this one, all the way from the playoffs down to possibly even fighting relegation. I've seen on a few people post. So yes, we'll go through all that. But before we start, most importantly, are we all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, good. Like I say, fired up and ready for tomorrow.
Lovely. Well, hopefully not too fired up. I don't want to see you burst into flames. So, right, let's get started. I'll start with you then, JD. So, you've mentioned twice now, you're fired up, you're raring to go. What's making you excited for the season to start? Is it just the usual, I'm glad football's back? Is there something about this season that you're more excited about? What's bringing you to the table this season?
Well, like I said at the start of the show, because I missed a fair chunk of the end of season, I just can't wait to be back at the Riverside. And normally I don't get into a season until a few games, and that's because obviously the period of August is when clubs are finalising their teams. I know there's competitive league games to be played and cup games to be played during that period, but it isn't until the beginning of September when the window shuts and you know what you've got to go for until January. I'm looking forward to it because last season was demoralising. It was frustrating in so many ways. It was sometimes difficult to see that we were clinging on to our hopes of the top six and the playoffs, only for it to be crushed on the last day, and we finished 10th as other teams leapfrogged us. Now, I'm not saying that we deserved the playoffs overall, but the hope and the faint chance was still there. Finishing 10th, and then obviously seeing Sunderland get promotion, Leeds get promotion, Newcastle winning a cup. That is probably the worst nightmare for a Middlesbrough fan. So I'm just wanting to get that behind me and start again at the Riverside tomorrow. Plus the fact that we've got our new coaching team in place, Adi Vavish and Danny Watling, who I think are Harry, his brother Danny couldn't make it. Harry Watling.
Colin.
That's the first one of the season. I think they're excellent.
Some might
foils.
say the first of many.
Yes, probably. They're excellent foils for Rob Edwards. I did go on record as saying that I didn't have a particular candidate out of the shortlist that was sort of like being bandied around when Carrick left. But I'm quite happy with Rob Edwards. I'm more than happy with the whole coaching team. And it just gives me hope for this season.
Good. I'm glad. Because it's because what I've read online. I mean, I'll come to you as well, Jacob. What I've read online is, and I'll put myself in this bracket as well. I'm not gonna shy away from it. I don't feel as optimistic as I usually do. I feel a bit not lethargical. I just feel I don't know what to expect this year. What about you, Jacob? What's your feelings on the new season coming?
No, I mean I'm probably slightly different than everybody else. It's the most I've looked forward to a Middlesbrough season for a lot of years. Really optimistic, really positive. Which some people will probably be falling off the chairs listening to this. Them words in the same sentence when I'm on here. But no, honestly, I think to be honest, I had a struggle to go into this season with the last coach that we had, and it's just I think Edwards is a breath of fresh air, and I'm of the opinion if we can get 3 or 4 more players through the door, I think we're going to have a good season.
Oh, good.
Can I ask you, Jacob, if Michael Carrick had remained in place but changed his backroom team, would you still have been apprehensive this season, or would that have changed? If say he'd have got the backroom team that Rob Edwards has now, would that have worked with Carrick for you?
In terms of me looking forward to the season as much, it might have made it a little bit better than by 5%. But no, I'd have struggled. It was the first time ever in my short time supporting Middlesbrough compared to some where I was actually struggling to motivate myself to, want to go to the games and now, no, I think we needed a change in the managerial position as well, and that's probably because I really like Edwards, but again, I think whoever came in had have been a bit more buoyant about a bit of a change.
No, fair enough. That's okay. I thought I'd ask.
There you go. Ask the boy, he'll answer. That's the politician inside him. But right, so we'll go through obviously the summer activities. let's start with outgoings, because there was one big outgoing that a lot of us, we knew was coming, but we weren't quite prepared for it. Does that sound about right, JD? Have I hit the nail on the head about Johnny Howson leaving?
Yeah, I mean, yet to see him leave wasn't an entire shock. But then he announced that he was, or it was his son, wasn't it, who announced that he was going to be coaching Leeds under 21s. And then we saw a picture during the summer of him with a Leeds kit on. So, yeah, I mean, I spoke last season and I said I would have offered Johnny Howson another contract. As a squad member for situations where we are low on numbers, which is exactly what he done the back end of last season and played out a position at centre half. But B, if he could have done a role similar to what he's doing at Leeds, if he could have done a role at Middlesbrough, coaching our young kids and teaching them, professionalism, because he was the ultimate professional. He was the epitome of what fans like to see in a footballer. That would have done me a year or two here, and moving into the coaching role for our under 21s. But it wasn't to be. Sad to see him go, but what a spell he had at Middlesbrough. 8 years, brilliant. So good luck to him.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob? Would you share the same sentiment?
Yeah, I don't think there's. I don't know. I think all Middlesbrough fans would say, legend. That word gets thrown about a lot, but probably too much. But in terms of Howson, he probably definitely deserves that title. If he stayed, I wouldn't have been against it, and now he's left, I'm not massively against it either. All good things must come to an end eventually. He is getting on. He'll still be on a decent wage, so maybe that's a wage they'd rather spend on someone that they think can play more games throughout the season. So I'm certainly not, kicking off about it saying, oh no, he definitely should have stayed. But if he did, it would have been happy days too. So, like John said, you wish him all the best. You say thank you, and you move on.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I think it was just more of a shock, wasn't it? Because there wasn't much coming in. There was obviously the talk of Hayden Hackney possibly leaving. It may still happen. Hackney leaving, we don't know yet for the next few weeks. So, yeah, it was just a bit of a shock when it came out. But I say good luck to him. He's always wanted to do a bit of coaching. Obviously, Leeds have offered him the chance to go into coaching and be part of their under-21 setup as well. So, yeah, good luck to the guy. I won't call him a legend, but he's a pretty good guy. Being on the podcast with us, really good to have a chat with. So, yeah, really, really good luck to him. Can't wish any more than that. I'll start the incomings because that's depressed me a bit. Right, so should we talk about our new midfielder? Because a midfielder has come in, JD. Leicester had N'Golo. We've got Abdulai. And we hope there's a lot of excitement about this kid. I've not seen much of him, so I can't say much about him. But there's a lot of talk coming in from the press, from people that have watched him, people who have seen him. They're quite excited about this kid. Should we be as excited as them?
Yeah, why not? I mean, like you say, he's a bit of an unknown, but at 20-year-old, it's a great age. If he's as good as reports suggest.
Sounds like soccer AM there. Great age.
if he's as good as reports suggest, then yeah, he'll be a great addition to our squad. We need more energy. We need players who can disrupt the opposition. We didn't see that often enough last year. We were sort of like quite soft at times. Hopefully, this young kid, 20-year-old, but apparently he's as keen as mustard, and he likes breaking things up. So yeah, without knowing a great deal about him, I'm excited by the prospect.
Yeah, I am as well. He's he could be. Yeah, he could be good. It could be one of those. Sometimes you have them signings from other teams. You think, well, where's he come from? How good's he turned out to be? A bit like Leicester did when they brought in, Kante, brought in Mahrez. So fingers crossed, But I don't want to put too much pressure on the kid as well. I don't want to pile it on him and say, he's our big hope for, Howson's replacement, and he'll be brilliant for us. But let the kids settle in. Let's see what happens with Hackney first. That's going to be a big one. We've still got Aidan Morris in there as well, so the partnership's still there. But the big one for me, Jacob, is we started bringing defensive reinforcement now. Obviously, we brought in Alfie Jones. We brought in Callum Britton as well. We'll start with Alfie Jones. Obviously, championship experience. Reluctantly let go by Hull. Obviously, they've got a lot of situation going on in the background there. What did you make of that signing? Is that a signing that we needed to bring in? When you look at the system that Rob Edwards possibly plays, a bit more defensive, a reinforcement was needed to help us go forward a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. I think you touched on it there about the championship experience. I think that's something we've lacked in the last 2 seasons. Signing people that have played the league. We came away from that for a short while. But it's nice to see that we're still going to mix up our signings, and I was saying to someone the other day, not everybody you sign can be a wonder kid, or he'll be good in 3 or 4 years' time. We need the steady eddies for now. We need the ones who are going to be 7 out of 10. We need a couple of them in the team. So the more players we sign who've played the league before is a huge bonus to me.
Yeah. Well, I definitely agree with that. It's for especially at the back as well. Championship experience in defence, because it's a really tough league, as we all know. We've been in this league, barring one season, for the last 16 years. So we're not rookies to this league anymore. We know it's going to take a bit of toughness at the back. That's going to lead us more, obviously, going forward a little bit more. And I say, I don't know if he's going to play a back 3, a back 4. I don't know. He's gone in between them both in pre-season, so I think it'll help. But what do you make of Alfie Jones joining the team, JD?
I'm over the moon. Great age, lots of experience, and if you can name me another Borough player who's played 40 games a season over the last 3 seasons, each season, then let me know, because it just seems as though across our back line we've never had a settled back line for a long time. And if we can get 40 games this season out of Alfie Jones, that's good going. And like Jacob said, I don't think he'll sort of be the star man, but you'll know he's there, and you'll know that you can rely on him. He seems to be that steady and influence. Great age, lots of experience, and thankfully has been able to stay relatively fit over the last 3 seasons. So fingers crossed that he's in our team on a regular basis, and that he brings some solidity, some stability to our back line.
Yeah, definitely. It was much needed. I know we've got Lenihan coming back this summer. I know unfortunately he's picked up a bit of a knock in training, so might be a couple of weeks before he's back.
That's what you're going to get. You're going to get that with people returning from long-term injuries. It's what happened to Bangura. The body takes a while to adjust, and they pick up other injuries not related to the main injury that kept them out. You've got to accept that. However, it's still unfortunate, and it still means Lenihan and Bangura are out of action. But hopefully it won't be too long before they're back.
No, absolutely. The same. Like you said, things. Obviously, you are the expert. In long-term injuries, so you're probably the best person to speak to about it.
Don't say that.
I know.
Don't say that, please.
I know. Can you imagine that? Please don't. But no, you're absolutely right. It's the body does take a little bit of it's readjusting as well, getting back to normal. I suppose normal living because you've been slightly. No, I don't want to say handicapped because it's not, but you know what I mean. You've been held back a little bit from being 100%. So, yeah, it takes a bit of time, and them knocks are going to happen. So, fingers crossed he comes back even stronger, even better than he was before. Let's say because Lenahan's a brilliant defender. So, but bringing in Alfie Jones is a fantastic addition. He's going to. And he's versatile as well, which is something that Rob Edwards did mention, didn't he? He's bringing in players that can play in multiple positions. He can play right back and play centre back. Gives us them options, to spread along the back line, which is really good. Which brings us on to our third signing of the summer, Callum Britton. A lot of Blackburn fans are upset about this. They didn't want to see him go. They were quite reluctant to let him go as well. He's in the final year of his contract at Rovers. That's probably why the club have started to think we might have to cash in on him. So we've brought him in. Start with you on this one, JD. Apart from being a great age, what does he bring to the football club?
Well, his stats at Blackburn speak for themselves. He's not only a good fullback, he also is a good wing back. He provides a lot of dangerous balls into the penalty area for hopefully our forwards, because I know Blackburn forwards relish them. Hopefully our forwards to get on the end of. It seemed to be a bit of a protracted move. It was on, it was off. He was going to Derby, but the part that the agents play in this is so important. The agent will have touted him around, possibly, highlighted the fact that there was an inquiry from Derby, whether or not it ever met Blackburn's asking price. Who knows? It's all part and parcel of the complex system of transfers. But thankfully, it was a player identified by Scott, and Edwards wanted him, and we managed to land him. So hopefully we'll see him come straight in to the team tomorrow, because I think both wing back positions are important in the favoured system of Rob Edwards. So once we get our left wing back tied down, it'll look a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll talk about left wing back in a couple of minutes, because obviously that's a big area that we haven't managed to improve so far this summer. But one thing that obviously JD picked out there, Jacob, and I picked out as well, is when I've seen him play for Blackburn, he is a player that does like to get forward. He does like to take advantage of them attacking moments where he can bomb on, and he has scored a few goals for Blackburn as well. It's something that Rob Edwards does like to do. He likes to play attacking football from the wings. But the bonus thing is, obviously, we saw this with Giles. He can defend. I think that's the best part about it. What do you make of Callum Britton's signing?
Yeah, I think it has the potential to be one of the better signings we've made in the last few years, if all goes to plan. I don't, obviously, touch wood, no injuries. I don't think we could have signed a better right back, to be honest, within the league that was achievable to buy or realistic. What I like about him is he played at Barnsley under Ismail, who's at Blackburn now, which has some similarities in terms of Middlesbrough this season could go a bit more direct at times, so he used to play in that game. Middlesbrough might sit in a back five and soak up some pressure at times, which he'll have done in Eustace teams, in terms of sitting in the back four and soaking up a lot of pressure. So, like you said, I think he's got he's proven he's got defensive qualities. He wouldn't have been playing at right back for John Eustace if he couldn't defend. And then hopefully he's going to give us that little bit more than someone like Ayling can at his age going forward. I still think Ayling can be used in certain matches for certain period of time. Whether he covers as a right-sided centre-back at some point during the season, we might see that. But I think we've got two proven championship wing-backs now, which is really important for the league.
Yeah, I can't just...
Another important thing about him is he's championship ready. He's not come from a different league. There isn't any settling in period. Settling into his new teammates, yes, but with regards to the league, both Jones and Callum Britton will just they'll know what to expect. Played against these teams in the past, they'll know what to expect. So it's minimal bedding in time really, which is important.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not. He's not one to, by the looks of it, he's bedded in quite well. What's been said about him the last few days, he's settled in quite nicely. So, like you said, John, I do want to see him in the squad tomorrow. I know he's not had the greatest of preparations in pre-season. Obviously, there was a lot of, will he go, won't he, kind of situation with his obviously moving on from Blackburn. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But if we look at the other side of the pitch, though, the big problem, and a lot of fans have said this, left wing back. We're looking most likely now that we're going to start with Sammy Silvera. Now, put your hands up if you thought I'd be saying that beginning of the summer, because I never. Absolutely certain.
I don't think there's not one Borough fan who could have said that with all honesty, because it looked like the only way for Sammy Silvera was via another loan spell somewhere. But fair play, he's been given the chance, and he's got good reviews in the friendly games we've played. Now, I emphasise that the friendly games, a proper competitive game is like chalk and cheese to a friendly. So it remains to be seen how things go. But left wing back is certainly a position that Kieran Scott must fill before September the 1st.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few positions he's got to be looking at now. I say, but like I'm with you. That's priority number one for me. I say, I know. I'll talk to you, Jake, because he's just walked away. That's absolutely needs to be filled. I didn't expect to be watching Sammy Silvera at left wing back, but I was at Rangers a couple of weeks ago. He did look, weirdly enough, he looked comfortable, which is really weird to say. But I mean, a comment just come in there saying play Borges at left wing back. But what do you think about the prospect of Silvera being a left wing back? Does that show how, I don't want to say desperate, but how weak we are in that position, that we're having to look at Silvera going there?
Look, I think if you asked anyone at the club, honestly, it's probably a failure on the club in terms of that he's having to fill in there. He's not a left wing back, but as you say, from the pre-season games I've watched, from what I've read, from what I've heard, he's took his chance to the best of his ability. Do I want Sammy Silvera being our left wing back all season? Do a hell. Will I get behind him for the first few games? Absolutely. But I'd be playing him over Borges at left wing back. We're at home, we're playing Swansea, they're a decent team, but I think we need Silvera and hopefully Britton on the other side for the energy to match them, quick start. No, I wouldn't play Borges left wing back. It might be something we do later on in the game if we go in front. But I think to start the game, hopefully we're going to start the match on the front foot.
Yeah, I see. Even the dog agrees. No, it's yeah. I never thought I'd be ever saying it. I keep saying that as well, but I was impressed with him at Rangers. I know it's only a friendly, but in a way though, Rangers were in the middle of Champions League qualifiers, so they probably saw us as a bit of a warm up towards playing Panathinaikos in that second leg. I know he played both sides of their squad, and he looked all right. He looked comfortable. He looked well equipped to be in that position, especially going forward. Because to say the pace of going forward that we have, I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit. Going forward, we look so quick back to front. It's really impressive to see, and that's really what impressed me when I watched us. But you were at the game last week, weren't you, John, against Deportivo?
Deportivo.
Was that exactly the same? It was what I saw at Rangers.
Yeah, he done well. He was confident. He was taking men on and delivering balls into the box. He was one of the bright sparks of that draw.
Yeah.
But do you know, it sometimes happens that a player gets a boost from an incoming manager and it turns his fortunes around. I mean, Chuba Akpom had a great season once Wilder altered his positioning slightly. Once Carrick, altered his positioning slightly. And this might happen with one or two players that Rob Edwards tweaks a little bit, or Adivovic tweaks a little bit and says, try this, do this. So yeah, at the end of last season, nobody would have said Sammy Silvera would have still been at the club at this particular time. But who knows? Who knows? We may see that he's one of those players who just get a bit of one-to-one coaching, gets his confidence up, and starts to show ability that we never saw in the spells after he first signed. Remains to be seen. But if he can do well, fill that position until a left wing back is brought in, then good luck to him, and I hope he does well.
Yeah, I hope he does well. I say, it just looked like, especially he wasn't really getting games when he was on loan as well. I say, obviously he started on loan at Portsmouth, went in then into League One. You know, it was like there was no way back at Borough in a harsh way. He was starting to slide away, but fair play to him. He's took his opportunity. You know, obviously Rob Edwards had an arm around him, said, you know, this could be a position you could fill. What do you think? He's given it a go. It's worked for him so far. So, you know, 99% sure he'll probably start tomorrow. So let's see what he's like in a competitive game, you know, before you know, the reinforcements do get brought in. Because I've no doubt that a left wing back will come in. It's just when, you know, so hopefully as soon as possible, that's what we need it for. But so I did put out 3 questions for you lovely people to get involved with, get in touch with us about. You know, because we want to know your views as well as our views. You know, if you listen to us for an hour, like you usually do, just get a bit boring. So I did ask, you know, who are you putting your hopes on being our star for the season? How much of a difference do you think Rob Edwards will actually make? And where do you think we'll finish in the table this season? So I'll start with you, John. Obviously, we've had a few responses. You're very welcome. That's very polite. Who's one player you pointed out? You think, you know, he could be our star man this season?
I'm going to say one of the new boys, one of the new defenders we've signed, and as for Starman, I don't think he'll star in games. I don't think he'll get people to sit up and go, wow. But I just think he'll be key. I think he'll be steady and he'll offer us something that we missed last year, which was a centre-half who you can rely on for most of the season. So I think Alfie Jones will fill that role for me.
Okay. I was half expecting to say Callum Britton there, because a few people have mentioned Callum Britton. He has come up quite a little bit. Jacob, what about you?
I think I'll say Morris. From what I've watched in the pre-season, I think he looks back to his sharpness, how he started last season. His pressing has been really good, and I think the new style of play, having the Middlesbrough team higher up the pitch, is going to suit him. I think he's a good man-to-man player. I think he's a good presser of the ball. And I think hopefully once Kante gets his feet under the table, it might allow Hackney and Morris to push further on and just have Kante as the one who kind of breaks it up behind them. I think if we get another striker in, you could see us go 5-3-2 in some games and have Kante, Morris and Hackney together in that midfield three. So I think Morris is going to be the standout, definitely.
Yeah. I say Morris has been mentioned a couple of times. I mean, I'll go through some of the comments I've seen. I say Silver has even been mentioned. Law McCabe has been mentioned. He's had quite a lot of game time this summer. You know, it's been good to see actually. I quite like Law McCabe. I think he'll be a star for the future. But he's been mentioned a few times in our comments. The one for me I'm looking at is Morgan Whittaker. The boy's got so much potential. I mean, I know I raved about him and I was desperate to get him at the club. I really was, but he didn't really show it, unfortunately, when we really needed the fight and grit of some of the players last season, where we did fall a bit. But he's got so much about him. He's got so much potential. I don't know if the move from Plymouth did affect him a little bit because it was a bit of a untidy move. You know, it did get a bit messy for him, unfortunately. But I think he'll be brilliant. They say it looks like he's just going to slot into one of those number 10 roles behind Tommy Conway. That's what I think.
It's amazing, isn't it, how somebody looks better when they get played in the right position. I mean, we're now operating with the 2 10s, and we've got McGree, who was naturally can play that role. We've got Bergzog, who's definitely better in the 10. We've got Whittaker and Azaz, who are number 10s. So they're the roles that they're going to be more successful in. So again, it's nice to see us going with the 2 10s behind the striker for now, while we wait until we get another striker in, which will give us another dimension. But Whittaker, that's his strongest position. So it's a clean slate, starting in his strongest position. So I think he'll feel a bit more for it. Like I said, it's a clean slate for him, and I think he's someone, for the money we've spent on him, he needs to have a good season.
Yeah, I think he needs to have a good season as well. Hey, maybe that's part of the master plan for Rob Edwards. You know, maybe he's thinking, if I do bring him inside, gives him a bit more freedom, because that's how it looked. I know, obviously, the only game I've been to was Rangers. I don't really tend to go to pre-seasons, but that's the way he was against Rangers, and you see, he looked really good. He looked really confident as well. I think that's the bit that he's been missing. His lack of confidence has not been great. But he looked confident on the ball. You know, he was pinning balls all over the shop. He's got the potential. We just need to unlock it. And I feel that maybe this is the right manager that does this. You know, so certain players have certain managers that they just seem to perform under. You know, Chuba Akpom was brilliant under Michael Carrick. He's shown since he left, you know, he hasn't been quite worked out as he wanted to. Obviously, it looks like he's going to Ipswich. I think they've won the tug of war. Yes, that's an almighty tug of war, hasn't it? So it looks like he's the one that, you know, maybe it'll work for him under Kieran McKenna. I don't know. You know, same sort of managerial style. But yeah, fingers crossed it does work for Whittaker. I say he needs a big season this year. You know, we did spend a lot on him last year. Was it £7 million? Is that right? Have I got that right?
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm going to say I'm right then. I'm going to go over that. But you know, it was a lot of money anyway. But so yeah, move on to. I know what Jacob's going to say to this, so I'll definitely start with you, John, on this one, because I know what Jacob's going to say. What kind of impact are you expecting Rob Edwards to have? You know, obviously game wise, tactics wise, having a manager that's persistently on the touchline. I say that's what I've noticed a lot as well. You know, what are you expecting from Rob Edwards? You know, have you got expectations of him?
Yeah, I expect a 3 at the back formation.
Yeah.
Sorry, for people who can see me, my dog's into trying to get into camera. Yeah, I'm expecting a three at the back with two wing backs, which can leave teams vulnerable. I mean, we saw that with Luton Town when he brought them up last season. But I'm just hoping, that the wily old fox Vivish will be able to spot any changes that the opposition make and then and act accordingly. He's said that he wants to excite the fans. He said that he wants to be more attacking and not messing around and playing the ball around at the back too much. He wants to play the ball in the opposition half, which is music to my ears, certainly. He wants more crosses into the box. He wants us to shoot more often. He's saying all the right things for me, but obviously the bottom line is how the game goes when 11 other players are trying to stop you doing that, and also have their own plans on getting around you. So I'm positive with regards to what he's said to the press, and I'm looking forward to a more energetic, more active, more action-packed game, because it's not going to be dull if he's going to attack us as often and as much as he said he wants to. So, I mean, you counter that with how pedestrian and slow parts of our game were under Michael Carrick, without any end product, and it's just totally different. So I'm hoping that we see exactly what he's told us that we expect to see.
Yeah, no, it's yeah. I've always seen contrast between Carrick and Edwards already in the the games I've watched and been to. So, but I'll talk about what I think. Come on then, Jacob. Tell us why Rob Edwards will make us win the league this year.
I never said that, but more passion,
Oh, you did.
more passion, more fight, more demands, more transparency, more honest after games, reflecting on it, telling us how long someone's actually injured for, saying he'll just be a bit longer, skip forward 3 years and he's still not back. So no, I just think it's the change we needed. I mean, if we went into this season, people are a little bit doom and gloom on the transfer front, but the appointment of Edwards is almost covering that for me at the minute. So I think we've got to go into the season. We've just got to get behind him, and if we're seeing, although we haven't got a win in the pre-season, I've come away from the majority of the pre-season games, including the Deportivo one, and I thought I've seen enough there. I've seen enough effort, enough fight for a pre-season match. I've seen the Borough players backing each other up in battle. So that encourages me. Just a little bit battle. I mean, probably a little bit too far from Hackney, but it was nice to see.
That's right.
At least they're not rolling over.
Well, it was. You're right. I mean, he was quite lucky that. And it was at the end of the game, and the ref was a touch lenient, but he did sort of like push him away. Whether he made contact with his face or his head, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, you're right. It was good to see some determination and fight back, if you can call it that. I mean, I'm like every other Borough fan. I'm not particularly happy with them starting the season with only 3 new players in. I wanted there to be more.
Yeah.
But I still feel that obviously with 3 weeks of the transfer window remaining, there's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of players coming in and going out. So yeah, doom and gloom. You're right. I've seen it all over social media. Sometimes I've had to take myself away because it's depressing. But I'm hopeful of this season, and I'm optimistic that the next 3 weeks will see fast improvement with our squad.
Well, we've just got to get through the first few games. The starting 11's good enough to pick up points. And, yes, they're going to need help later on in the season, but we can get through the first 3 or 4 games in a solid points return. That 11's good enough to get us some level of points in the first few games, and hopefully come the end of August, we'll have the ones to bring off the bench.
Yeah, it's sod's law, isn't it? That on paper, we've got the toughest start of any championship team. It had to happen to Borough, but we've started slow in previous seasons and picked up. I hope we don't find ourselves in such a perilous position with 4 or 5 games gone. I'm like you, Jacob. I'm hopeful, that we can pick up enough points in the first few games to just keep us steady.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't have to be a big points return, like you said, just little by little. That's all you need. Pick up some points on the board. Let's see where we are. Beginning of September, because I'm absolutely certain there'll be more players coming in. There could be certain outgoings. Obviously we don't know the situation with Vandenberg yet, do we? So,
Well, Steve, I know you're going to see Oasis next week, and you throw in little by little there. Are we going to get any of the Oasis songs referenced, or is that a challenge? Is that a challenge for us to do it?
I've already put about 6 in.
Because I'm up for the challenge.
I've already put about 6 in, so but yes, I am going to see them. I'm sacrificing Doncaster at home, but needs must.
Bad time.
But says you.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I might have had a touch of justification, but I agree with you.
I know. Easy peg leg Pete giving me a chip about missing one game. It's fine. But
Hey,
no. Go.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it.
Exactly. Yes, it's exactly what you got to do. But I'll be on that bus bright and early from Millwall. You know it. So yes.
Good lad.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. But the big kick-off is for me is what I'm looking forward to most. I really am. There is a bit of jeopardy about where we are. Will we be challenging? Won't we be challenging? Is it a season of transition? Is there enough promise to build on the first 11 to make sure that our squad of 25 is as strong as it could be from previous years? A lot of people have had different opinions about where we'll finish. Obviously, a few have said, as we stand right now, we're looking at 8th, 9th, 10th. There's been a few that have said I've seen as low as 18th. I think one podcast had us on at 16th. I think if you listen to the second tier podcast. So, start with you, Jacob. You're quite optimistic about Rob Edwards. You think there'll be a lot of change going through the season. Where do you have Borough finishing?
I think, firstly, we should relish that for the first season in a long, long time, we're being underestimated. I think it's a good thing. Most years, obviously, we're a biggish club in the Championship. Everyone just puts us in the playoffs, and we're almost the bank at in the top 6. But I think it's good that there's a lower level of expectation. I think that could work in our favour. Look, I'll be honest, where the squad is right now, Rob Edwards would have to overperform to get this squad as it is now in the top 6. Definitely. So right now, I think this squad would probably be around 9th, 10th, come the end of August. I'm hoping and being positive that we're going to have the squad to get us in the playoffs. And I think if we've got that squad, I think Rob Edwards will have the ball around 5th.
Okay, so you're going 5th. Was that providing we do get the changes in what we do need?
Yeah, provide we have to. I think if it was the end of August tomorrow, I think anyone who expects that team to go in the top 6 would be demanding quite a lot, to be honest.
So you don't see
if it is the end of August tomorrow, how will Oasis Did you enjoy it, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah.
And did
my voice is better than I thought it was going to be.
yeah?
I'm expecting that
I
to be
mean,
very, very hazy.
I didn't expect the mud to slide away.
Very good. Very good. I love the talk tonight. Very good. So 5th, right? Okay, John, come to you.
Yeah, well, I was asked this question on the on Craig John's fans panel for the Gazette, and I wrote that I'd probably get a bit of stick for this, but I think 8th, we wouldn't finish any lower than 8th, and there's a possibility that we could sneak into the playoffs. So I said between 5th and 8th, and obviously that does depend on the rest of the transfer window and what happens in January. So I'm being optimistic, and I'm saying our lowest position is 8th, and I'm hoping we can get up to 5th or 6th.
Okay. So before I start, I will say, stand by me with this, right? As it stands right now, 13th. That's where I've got us, which is bottom half. If we bring in a left wing back, a striker, maybe another centre half, because I feel Britain's going to be used predominantly on the right. I think Vandenberg's in the goal as well, and another player for the left hand side as well, just to give that's because that side is so weak, so weak. I don't think we'll make the playoffs this year, which is sad. Means I won't be disappointed when we leave Wrexham. So I've got us finishing 8th if we improve the squad, but I'd love to see us give it a right go. So,
well, no problem. See, if you were at Wrexham and we don't make the playoffs, I'll just tell you to stop crying your heart out.
Yeah, I will be crying. I'll be too drunk. Be fine. No, I look forward to Wrexham. It's the only ground I haven't been to this season, so I'm very looking forward to that one. Ticket off. But that is game number 46. Let's start with game 1. Swansea at home. Swansea owned by Snoop Dogg and Luka Modric, who had that on their bingo card. They've made some signings this summer. They've made a few shuffles. They've moved the squad around. A lot of optimism in South Wales. Obviously, they are kings of South Wales now. Cardiff dropping down to League One. John, obviously, you've got a few mates down in Swansea. What's their vibes coming into this season? Are they optimistic? What are they thinking about this season?
Yeah, they are. They're much more hopeful of a better season than last. And well, we'll be chatting to them tomorrow because I'm going to meet them before the game, and then I'll bring them in the 12-man bar after the game for a few beers, so you can have a chat with them yourself. But yeah, I've been in touch talking to them, and they're more optimistic of a decent season. I think that they're happy with some of the signings they've made, and obviously the interest and anticipation of celebrity owners has boosted them. They're hoping to do what Wrexham and Birmingham have achieved.
Yeah, I think that's the top. There's a lot of. I mean, obviously you've got Wrexham and Birmingham making the jump up to the Championship. They've made massive strides into building their squad to be able to compete at this level. There's a lot of clubs that seem to be going more the consortium kind of way. It's happening a lot in sports at the moment. Leeds, they say Leeds are another one, aren't they? They're backed by celebrities, etc., part of their ownership group. But fair play to them, If we manage to meet Snoop Dogg on Easter Monday, that'd be something. Don't think I've got that down on the card next year.
I mean, is he classed as a rock and roll star?
I mean, he's. He's definitely done a few rolling this time. That's all I'm saying about that.
Yes, yeah, yes.
But Jacob, what's your thoughts on tomorrow? Obviously, big kick-off. There's not as much optimism in the Riverside tomorrow. I still expect there to be a big crowd. I say, South Stand are putting on their display performance thing. The North Stand will have something. We've got our flags out, etc. As we always do. So, what are you expecting from tomorrow?
I think it'll be a tough game. I think that Michael Sheen, I think he only lost 3 out of 15 games he did at the end of last season as the caretaker manager. Sometimes when a caretaker manager gets it full time, it goes tits up, doesn't it? So fingers crossed it does for the first game of the season. I think we've got to be wary of them playing around the edges, around the sides. They're a bit more different to the old Swansea teams. There's a bit more slow, a bit more possession, but these are a bit more happy to spin it in the channel. So we'll have to be careful with that. We're playing 3 at the back. But I think it'll be a good game. I think both teams, I think they'll press us. We're going to be higher up the pitch, Middlesbrough, like I said. So I think it's got the makings of quite an exciting match, to be honest. And yeah, I will be backing us to win this week.
Wow. There you go. More optimistic than I am, so I'll give you that. But no, I think it will be a tough game tomorrow. I really do. I say there's a lot of uncertainty around the Riverside at the moment. Fans are desperate to see a good start. I think a good start will silence it, for now. But it'll start again, obviously, when signings don't come over the line, or the worst could happen against Doncaster. We don't know, but it's going to be tough. I say I'm more bothered about us. The high press that we played in pre-season. That will take its toll if we don't add on this squad, because you could see after 65, 70 minutes we were I know it's pre-season and that's what it's designed for, but we were really, really, we were tired. We were knackered. I did so well there, didn't I?
You did.
Thank you. We were knackered, and we looked out on our legs, on our feet, and yeah, That's why we need the players in, because if we're going to keep doing that for 90 minutes, we need players to come off the bench that are going to do exactly the same. So, with that being said, obviously, we did okay last season. Didn't do great, but we did all right. We start with our charity bet again for the season. If you lovely people listening, watching, want to get involved, let us know. Get involved. Get in touch. I'll start with you, Jacob, because you said you build it up. You said we're going to win. Come on then, 4-0. Who's going to score?
2-1 Borough, and Morgan Whittaker to score.
2-1 Borough, Whittaker. There you go. JD, come to you.
Yeah, well, some might say that they don't know what the charity bet is, so I'll just explain it. We predict the scoreline and an anytime goal scorer. That's the master plan anyway. So I'm going for 3-2 to Borough. And I'll say Tommy Conway.
He's got the touch, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
I threw 2 Oasis songs in there, lads. I tell you what.
Do you know what I mean? He's
you need to up your game. You need to up your game.
He's good. So fair enough. You're both positive. I'm going 1-1. I'm going 1-1.
Well, it's normally our other co-presenter who does that, but Dally can wait.
He needs to cool down a bit.
So Dally can wait.
Oh, you got to sing that to him when he's walking up the stairs. I mean, at the moment he is half the world away, so he's yeah.
Well done.
Currently sat on fire in Turkey, isn't he? So gingers don't do weed. So,
I didn't know. I didn't expect you to get that one in, but that's a good one. I'll have to give you that one. That was the best one of the night.
Thank you. But I think I'm going to say we're going to score. Dale Fry. Dale Fry scored at Rangers when I last saw him. Yeah, Dale Fry 1-1. That's my bet for and yellow card, because I do put yellow card on Hayden Hackney. If he plays Hayden Hackney, he loves the yellow card. I'm not in there. So there you go. there's our 3 predictions. You know, get your predictions in. Let us know what you think. Yeah. Until, well, we're back on Sunday, aren't we? Because obviously we're having to go a little bit early. We've obviously got 2 games to preview next week. Doncaster and Millwall. First trip on the road to the capital. Look forward to that. I always like Millwall away. It's always a good trip. Jacob, thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
Get yourself out campaigning. And John Dunn, I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can't wait. I really can't wait.
No,
if I get stuck halfway, come and give us a pull.
Oh God! If I pull you, then there's no chance I'll live forever. So I can't do that. But no. I'm really looking forward to it. Block 23 looks just about full, doesn't it, for tomorrow? So yeah, bring your voices if you're in Block 23.
As long as it's noisy, yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah, we've got to get behind the new manager and the new players.
Exactly. Give them. Yes, we haven't got exactly what we want or need, this summer, but give the lads it. Just give them our backing. That's all. That's all they would ever ask from us. All I ever ask from them is to respond to it, and that's exactly what I want. Do I want us to draw 1-1? No. I'd love 3 points opening day. 3 points opening day of the season is a great feeling. So it's a good way to. It's a good way to start. So if you go tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll talk to you again on Sunday. Be seeing you up the borough. Arrivederci. Toodle pip.
Up the borough.